Hello everyone, myself Srinivas Nadgiri. Today I am presenting my project or task that is given to me during my internship period by TechnoAx Private Limited. I have created transaction tracker web application under full stack web development internship. So basically in this project I have built using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. The main core part of this project is JavaScript and HTML I used for HTML and CSS and used for both front end and designing a front end. Okay, coming across this project, I used JavaScript for the main purpose. Like JavaScript makes easier for developing interactive and dynamic web applications, and it can have real-time updates. JavaScript allows for immediate interaction with user, updating content, and from this I can add a new transaction and budget status. We also have a natively supported modern web browsers like Chrome, Firefox and Edge we can use, and data persistence we can use local storage, because in this project I have used transaction data are saved in local storage of this uh, JavaScript file. Here it's a JavaScript file. I'll come across from one HTML file to CSS, then JavaScript. Firstly, coming upon HTML file, I have decent HTML file where it is very limited code. Made a simple thing. I have designed more in my CSS. I will show at the end how that website is going. Okay, basically I'm given this here. I'll linked my script file and linked my CSS file here. If firstly what I taken, I will take an input type that budget. I'll ask for entering budget. Once the budget is clicked, set budget button is clicked, it will go on to set budget and it will call this JavaScript file, that is set budget. Same thing as it is. If I want to reset data, I will reset. Download transaction, I have separate this thing for that, and then is add transactions. If I want to add, I'll get into this and I'll call this add transaction. So I come across this some input text and this thing, and here also transaction list I can show in the right side part of the web page. And this is the style.css file where I used styling for front end of my web page. Now um let's come across this JavaScript file. In JavaScript file I have made separate this thing for each set budget and like initial user data, add transaction and data. Let me discuss like how does each function work, what does each function do. So basically the first function is like here we have set budget. Okay, this set budget sets the budget. What I'm doing, I'm converting my budget into fast float, because the budget I have entered is in integer type. What I'll do, I'll convert into my fast float by using this function is nan and fast float. This budget will be converted. Basically it is used for input taking and to storage to store the into local storage. I'll enter the valued budget amount and it will store in my local storage in set item data and float into budget. It will convert into float. Next I'll call initialize user data, display budget status and display transactions. Okay, after saying it will call and it will update the display budget status and transactions. Now coming across initialize user data. Initialize user data used for storing the transaction, that is once I add any transaction it will store into local storage using the key user. This is the key I am using, and if no object is found it will transaction to my transactions. Okay, array, it will be empty now. This is for storing into local storage. Next comes add transaction. Okay, now I've taken the input, I set the budget, now budget is done. Now I'll add some transactions like expense or income, whether I am adding or minusing. So basically here I have four elements, that is transaction time, what is the transaction type, what is the amount, what is the remark you want to give, and what does the date or the timestamp you want to give. Basically type is nothing but we are saying that it's expense or income. Amount is that what are the amount you want to add or this thing. Remark is your description of what you are doing, and next is date and time at which the transaction is happened. Same thing I'll do if amount is not equal, then this convert into amount and enter the valid amount and return. And I'll parse this into my local storage into the user, and if there is no none transaction, the transaction will be empty. Okay. The transaction will be stayed in path like type will be transaction type. I'll call this thing transaction type, and for amount I'll convert that into float and this thing. Then remark that is given here in remark page where I write the description of that transaction. Okay, this is the user transaction. I'll push into my transaction, and I'll display the transaction. I'll display the budget status because I have to show the remaining budget also. It will reflect there and it will update there. Once I'll show this, this is function dot display for displaying the transaction, and this function retrieves the user from the object local storage. It will take the value from the user from the local storage and transaction list. If no transaction exists, it displays a message indicating no transaction has been made yet. Okay, and I'll make this remaining budget and total budget. See, I'll taking two things, that is this budget and total expenses. Remaining budget will be always budget minus total expenses. Okay, so this function makes sure that total expense is taken here by taking the expense and total transaction amount equal to total, and this line is for remaining budget what I want to show. This transaction is used for making the expense and this thing, and basically if I have remaining budget is less than 0, it will show me warning you have exceeded your budget by this dollars, and if not, it will again transactions the HTML it will show. Coming across the display the budget status. Okay, this function displays the current status of the user's budget. It receives the current budget from the local storage and checks if it is a valid number. Okay, basically see, I'm calling here local storage in get item, and it check this, and I parse that through local item, and if the transaction empty, it will show empty. Same thing I've done here for both things. I'll add for expense and income also. The remaining budget will be as low to income sort of thing, and for reset data I am resetting all the things. I am removing the budget and removing the user from the local storage, and this will be reset my data. For downloading transaction I am using blob. From there I'll get my CSV file and I'll create an object of blob, and it will create a link to download the transaction.csv, and after that I'll call all this fine. So this is all about my script.js file and the functionality I am using here. Now coming across, I'll run this file and show you what does it basically do. Okay, this is my page front end I created using HTML CSS. Suppose if we give 50,000 as my budget, I'll give set budget. See, if you can see here the remaining budget is 50,000, here it's showing. Now I'll add an expense of 25,000, and if I say that I am taking on TV expense, okay, if I add this transaction, it will show me here the transaction and the time also, and the description what I given here, and the date and time, and 25,000. After I have transacted this, the remaining budget is updated here. So this what the speciality of the JavaScript comes here, because you can update the values as and when the functionality is done, or one function is add to call the another function. Suppose now remaining budget is 25,000. Now if I add like 25,000 again, okay, like I'll take on TV expense. I'll take smartphone expense. Okay, smartphone expense. I'll add transaction. It will add. My remaining budget is 0. Now if I want to add any transaction, if I add like I want to add 5,000, like personal, like if I take that, see now personal expense, if I personal, if I add transaction, it means C minus remaining budget. I am out. C here the this thing one sentence is showing that insufficient budget, you have exceeded your budget by 5. See, this is what happened. Now this all done. If I click on download transaction, it will download me a file. Okay, see, you can see that there is a file downloader. If I home it, you can see the transaction what I made. Let me do this thing. Wait, and okay, fine. See, you can see the expense 25,000 and TV expense on the date and time. Same thing here. This what we can get from here. So this is all about my project. Hope you guys liked it, and I am happy to be a part of internship for TechnoHacks Private Limited. This project is done. Okay, fine. Thank you.